You can see Mount Kilimanjaro in other parts of Africa, but you can only climb it in Tanzania. So it's to tell the world what we have and claiming back what people took from us.
If the wildebeest migrates from Kenya to Tanzania and they give birth in Tanzania, are they considered Tanzanians or Kenyans?
There was a very nice place I went. It's a beautiful place. It's on the West Kilimanjaro. There's even this guy who built a house there at the border. So when he's in his bedroom, he's in Kenya. When he when he is in his living room, he's in Tanzania. So it's like that. Yeah. Can you guess which tribe is it? This guy, he's from which tribe?
In Tanzania, poaching is illegal, but if you pay enough money, you can be allowed to even hunt an elephant. How true is that?
You'll even be shocked that flowers are also poached.
Hello guys, welcome back to Make Your Own Destiny podcast, the podcast that inspires you to shape your future. Today we are with a very special guest. She is actually a television journalist, but she focuses on tourism, and in the year 2023 she was recognized as the best television journalist in Tanzania. And also apart from that, she is the second Miss Tanzania to be on our show. As you guys know already, Tracy, we did an interview with Tracy, who is also Miss Tanzania. But before we get started, please like this video, subscribe, and comment down below what kind of guest do you want to see in this podcast in the future. We have Magreth Geddy. You participated in an event of Miss Tanzania 2019 pageant. How was the experience?
Well, I would say it's a beautiful experience. I started with Miss Arusha.
Okay.
You have to start like regional,
Okay.
and then you go zonal, and then all the way to Miss Tanzania.
Yeah.
So I started as Miss Arusha 2019.
Yeah.
I was the first runner-up
Okay.
in Miss Arusha 2019. And then I went to Miss Northern Zone, which you meet with other like top 5 winners from different regions. So for the Northern Zone, it was Arusha, Kilimanjaro, Manyara, and Tanga.
Okay.
So I won that title. I was the Miss Northern Zone Tanzania 2019.
Okay.
And then I went through Miss Tanzania. Yeah.
Okay.
It was a beautiful journey. You get to meet different women from different parts of Tanzania.
Yeah.
And you get to learn different things. They get to teach you a lot of things, etiquettes, how to act, how to speak in public. So it was the boot camp of Miss Tanzania was more of a learning journey for me to becoming whatever I am today. Also, it also boosted my confidence because you get to stand in front of people, you get to be interviewed by media, so you get to like talk, and yeah, it actually boosted my confidence.
And what do you have to say for the young people who are watching, ladies who want to participate in Miss Tanzania? What do you have to say to them?
Well, if you have passion in becoming a beauty queen,
Yeah.
I think it's something that you should go for it. Whether you win, I didn't win Miss Tanzania, but it actually built me, it built my confidence. So they should go for it.
Okay.
Yeah. Sky's the limit. They should try.
For the people who completely doesn't know you, can you please tell us who is Magreth? Take us from the beginning.
Well, basically, right now I am, as you introduced me, I wear many hats. I would say. I work as a TV producer. Like my title is a TV producer.
Okay.
I produce wildlife, nature, conservation contents for Tanzania Safari Channel. So Tanzania Safari Channel is under Tanzania Broadcasting Corporation.
Okay.
We are the only broadcasters in Africa who broadcast about tourism and conservation.
Okay.
So it's an honor to play that role as a TV producer. It's a big role, I get to oversee, I get to write proposals on where to go, which contents to shoot.
Yeah.
So it's quite amazing, and I love my job.
Okay.
On the other hand, on TBC1,
Yeah.
I'm a news reporter,
Okay.
and I choose to only report on tourism and conservation again.
Okay.
Yeah, I report on on both English and Swahili, but mostly on the English news bulletin.
Okay.
Yeah, but also I used to be a news anchor, but because I travel a lot, I stopped that because I couldn't be consistent on that. Like, you have to be in the studio.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, behind the scenes, you told me that you studied journalism, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So, can you share us that journey? Like, how did you become a journalist, and how did you decide to specialize in tourism and conservation?
I don't know how to say this in English, but
Yeah.
ni kama unajitafuta. It's like you're looking for what you're gonna become.
Yeah.
So for me, it wasn't an easy journey because I was trying different things. I was trying to do this, and then I stop. I do that. I stop. I did pageant. I've been a makeup artist.
Yeah.
So people know me for doing a lot of things,
Yeah.
but at the end of the day, I think this is what God wants me to do. This is
Okay.
what I was made for. I studied journalism
Yeah.
at the University of Dar es Salaam, not even knowing that one day I'm going to be a journalist, but specifically for tourism and conservation.
Yeah.
And I kind of didn't like being a journalist. I didn't want anything to do with journalism, like reading news, reporting, and all that. Although people told me, like, you have the looks for it, you look good on TV, but it's not only about the looks, right? It's about passion. It's about what you love and what you like.
Yeah.
And I after I finished university, I moved back to Arusha, which is my hometown. I went there, and that's when I went to Miss Arusha and all that.
Okay.
But then, after the pageant, Miss Tanzania pageant, I wanted to figure out what I wanted to do. So I like traveling. I like being around, and I just thought of going to study and become a safari guide.
Okay.
And I thought that was it. Like, I'm just going to be a safari guide. And then COVID happened.
Okay.
That was like 2020. And we closed school, and I was just home. I was training to become a tour guide. So I was going on safaris with like different guides and different companies. And it was just, I would say it was a turning point for me.
Okay.
And back in 2018, that's when they started Tanzania Safari Channel.
Okay.
And I had already like started watching it. So they had an opening for journalists.
Yeah.
And I had passion and already a little bit of experience in tourism.
Yeah.
And I was like, let me just go for it because I don't have anything to do. Like, I'm just staying home, And then I applied, and I got the job. Luckily, one of the people who were interviewing me was saying, like, you're the most qualified person we have for this job because you have a bachelor's in journalism, but at the same time, you've trained as a tour guide. So you know the 1 and 2s with Porini and all that stuff. So, yeah, that was pretty much my journey.
I always tell people in this podcast that safari ya kujipata sio rahisi.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's very, very difficult. And I remember one of my mentors told me that because when I was in my 20s, I was always stressing on what do I want to do.
Oh, I thought you were still in your 20s.
No. Like, who do I want to become? I was really stressing about that. So my mentor told me that, when you're in your 20s and 30s, you shouldn't be worried that you haven't figured out your life yet. So just spend your 20s and 30s doing anything that you feel like doing. Just keep doing it. And then when you reach in your 40s, that's when you have to choose one thing to specialize. Like, when people think of Magreth, they should be thinking of, tourism.
Exactly.
Yeah, or when people think of Baro, they think, okay,
Cameras,
cameras, directing.
Yeah.
So if you're in your 20s, in your 30s, and you still don't know what to do, just keep finding yourself, keep trying different kind of stuffs. Eventually, you'll find something that is your passion, something that you like doing. So you are recognized as the best journalist on tourism in 2023. You know, we all love to be recognized. For example, we as well, last year, we were nominated on Tanzania Digital Awards for the best podcast. I never really thought that a podcast was the best. I never even really thought that someone will be watching and take it serious. But then that feeling, to feel like someone recognizes that something that I'm doing, because I'm used to people giving me negative comments, insults, and everything, all kind of words I've been called online.
Yeah.
So when I get recognized for the work that I do, it really gives me hope, you know. So how did it feel for you to be recognized as the best journalist in Tanzania?
There's actually a saying in Swahili that says, mti wenye matunda ndio unaopigwa mawe.
Yeah.
So in your story,
Yeah.
unaelewa sasa hivi kwamba ni mti ambao ulikuwa una matunda. Like a fruitful tree is the one that people throw stones at.
Yeah.
So coming to your question, it was a beautiful moment. I can't even describe it. It was one of the most beautiful moments. Like, I even posted on Instagram, like when I was the video that I was going to get my award, like I'm walking down the aisle. You know?
Yeah.
People relate walking down the aisle to, you know, getting married and, you know. But it was that moment. It was the moment for me. I've never won anything in my life. Being Pegeant, Miss Tanzania, whatever, but I never won anything, you know. So winning this really actually proved that whatever I was doing, it was validated. It's people are seeing it and they appreciate it.
Okay.
And I'm making an impact.
Yeah.
So the whole process started last year.
Yeah.
So the award is called Best Television Journalist in Tourism and Conservation.
Okay.
And the awards are the Excellence in Journalism Awards Tanzania. Those, I would say, they're the most prestigious awards for journalists here.
Yeah.
So the Media Council of Tanzania is the one who is managing the awards. And they announced, if you are a journalist and you know you're good, submit your work, you know. So I went there, signed up, submitted some of my, you know, stuff.
Yeah.
And mind you, the ones I even thought they're going to win, they didn't win.
Okay.
You know? So it was very shocking and it was very surprising for me. And I'm very happy that I got recognized by what I'm doing.
And being recognized and winning, how did that push your career forward?
Well, it's too early to tell right now because I received the award this year, though it was last year's award.
Okay.
But I would walk in a room and people would recognize me and they would say, "Oh, she's the one who received the award," you know?
Okay.
Kwa hiyo hata saa nyingine mtu akikwambia kitu unavimba kidogo.
Yeah.
Dau unasema, "You know, I'm the best journalist." Niongezeni kidogo. So, yeah. I would say yajayo yanafurahisha zaidi kwa sababu it's too early to say kwamba award imenisaidia au it's gonna help me to get somewhere.
Do you have any significant project that you did that led to you winning that award?
Yes. So I submitted a 10 minutes documentary. I made it in Swahili and in English.
Yeah.
So the Swahili one is called Kivuko, and the English one is called The Crossing. It's actually the same thing. The only difference is the language.
Okay.
So I did that last year in Serengeti. So there's like a big event happening in Serengeti every year. It's called the Serengeti Migration. But part of that event is the crossing, where the wildebeests are crossing the Mara River.
Okay.
So I did a documentary about them crossing, the whole journey of them going to cross the Mara River. It's a fascinating thing to see because it's always dramatic. They're always caught by either other animals when they're walking towards the river,
Yeah.
or sometimes they're caught by crocodiles while they're crossing. Or some of them they cross and they come back and you wonder why do they come back? Oh, I forgot my child. I have to take back my child with me, you know. So it was a beautiful story to tell, and that is the project that actually made me win. And it wasn't easy to make it. People think just because I'm used to the wild, it was just an easy documentary to make.
Okay.
It wasn't easy. We spent a number of days in the Serengeti.
Yeah.
And mind you, all the camps were full, so we had to sleep outside the park,
Okay.
which was about 60 kilometers from where we're supposed to like shoot and everything, which is in Kogatende, the north of Serengeti. So we were staying in an area called Mugumu. So we were sleeping in Mugumu and then commuting every day to the park.
Yeah.
And as I told you, it's 60 kilometers. And the crossing usually happens in the morning.
Yeah.
Some few crossings happen in the evening, but usually early in the morning. So you have to be there by 6, waiting for these animals to cross.
Okay.
So we had to like wake up at every day at around 3 a.m., you know,
To go and shoot.
to go and shoot. Because you have to wait for them to cross.
Okay.
And mind you, some days you wait for them to cross here. Sometimes I'm even thinking, are they treating us like we are the animals and they're humans or something? Because they play tricks on us. You wait for them to cross here, they move and they go cross there. And then you start chasing them, you
Wow.
know? And then when you get there, the crossing is almost over. You don't have a shot. So it was pretty tricky to make it, but yeah, finally I made it.
I'm always fascinated. Like, why do animals have to cross to the other side? Why don't they just stay on the side that they were in?
So the whole system, the whole ecosystem is called Serengeti Mara ecosystem,
Okay.
which is Serengeti on our side and the Masai Mara on Kenya's side.
Yeah.
But mostly the animals spend time in the Serengeti because Serengeti is big.
Okay.
And the whole circle of animals takes the whole year. So by now, they're in the Mara, Masai Mara. They've already crossed. They went to Masai Mara. And then they will come back to Serengeti. They will go all the way to the Western Corridor up to the south of Serengeti. They will give birth there.
Yeah.
Another fascinating thing is that by February, they'll be giving birth all at the same time. And
Wow.
yeah.
Wow.
The reason why they're giving birth at the same time is because their strength relies on numbers. Like if we are many and then hyenas come and eat maybe 10 of us, it's fine. You know, our generation still goes on because it's so many of us. And it's so many children born at the same time. So if hyenas or lions or other animals, predators come and eat us, they will just eat few babies, but others will survive because there's so many.
Yeah.
And then as soon as they give birth, they start running again.
Okay.
And why are they running?
Yeah.
Because they're looking for greener pastures.
Okay.
Yeah. So the sign is usually the rain. If they see the lighting, they know there's rains on the other side. So they start running to that side. So the main reason these animals are running is they're looking for greener pastures.
Okay.
Yeah. So when you go to the south of Serengeti at around July to October, it's usually greener there. If you come to the center of Serengeti, Serenera, it's dry and you wouldn't find wildebeest there.
Okay.
So yeah, that's the reason.
If the wildebeest migrates from Kenya to Tanzania and they give birth in Tanzania, are they considered Tanzanians or Kenyans?
Animals don't have borders.
Oh.
Yeah. Animals don't have borders. So that's not the only place where actually animals migrate from one place to another. There are other places, like if you go to West Kilimanjaro, you'll find thousands of elephants migrating from Amboseli National Park, which is in Kenya,
Yeah.
to Tanzania. They are passing through NDMET WMA. It's a wildlife management area around that area.
Okay.
And then they will pass through, they will go to maybe Arusha National Park, or they will go to other places in Tanzania, you know. So animals don't have borders. You wouldn't even know if you go to like a national park and there's a border between one country to another. There's no fence.
Okay.
Yeah, there's no fence of saying this is Tanzania. You would just see a beacon and you see this part is Tanzania and this part is Kenya. There was a very nice place I went. It's a beautiful place. It's on the West Kilimanjaro. There's even this guy who built a house there at the border. So when he's in his bedroom, he's in Kenya. When he when he is in his living room, he's in Tanzania. So it's like that. Yeah. Can you guess which tribe is it? This guy, he's from which tribe?
Higher?
No, he's a Maasai.
Oh.
Yeah. So animals don't actually have borders. We have so many national parks, actually not so many, but a few national parks that we share with, or wildlife corridors that we share with our neighboring country, which is Kenya. We have Tsavo Mkomazi. So Tsavo West and Mkomazi, they border each other. And we also collaborate, like our Tanzania national parks collaborate with Kenya Service or something. They call Kenya Wildlife Service to conserve animals around that area because they don't have borders. Yeah.
I feel so bad for people who don't visit our national parks. We actually visited some national parks. When was it? Baro. Ilikuwa lini tumeenda mbuga za wanyama? Mwezi uliopita? Yeah.
And where did you go?
So we went to Moshi, we went to Kilimanjaro, we went to Serengeti, we went to Ngorongoro, Chemka.
Oh, nice.
Chemka. The experience was amazing. We actually slept in the national park. We had tents in the national park. Just imagine, at night you can hear the lions. Yeah, the lions roaring. You wake up in the morning, you find elephant shit at the door. You go up somehow, but we were advised not to go out at night. Yeah, and by the way, we had a perfect experience, nearly perfect, and it's all because of our brother from Nyange Adventures. It's called Nyange. By the way, shout out to Nyange. Those guys they know what they're doing. Like, they are very good. We're actually sponsored. Let me just put this out there. But I myself, I would be willing to pay my money just to get that experience. And next time I'll go because I want to go there again because it was unreal. I really enjoyed myself. So, most Tanzanians, they don't have a habit to visit national parks. I don't know why, but most people you find there, they're tourists from other countries. But Tanzanians, they're sleeping, but there's a lot of beauty in this country. Most people just want to go, let's say, to Cape Town, Dubai. They forget, the beauty is here. That's why all other tourists come here. So, there are a lot of people who wants to be journalists based on tourism. A lot of young people are looking up to you. A lot of young people are watching your social media and they wish to be like you. So what advice do you have for those people who want to become like you?
I would tell them it's not saturated.
Okay.
It's a field that not so many people have taken that path. There's a book that I read. It's actually a poem that says, there were two roads in the wood, and I took the less traveled by.
Yeah.
And that has made all the difference.
Okay.
There's so many journalists who focus on health. There's so many journalists who focus on sports, for instance. But the ones who do tourism and conservation, something that I'm doing, there are not so many people who do that.
Okay.
So if there are more people who are willing, or they feel like they aspire tourism and conservation, being journalists in tourism and conservation, they're mostly welcome because there's not so many of us, you know.
Yeah.
Sometimes I get stuff or I get jobs that people want me to do stuff,
Yeah.
but I'm the only one who is doing it, or we have so few of us. So
Yeah.
if there's more of us, I think it's gonna be great. I encourage them to take this path. And if you like traveling, this is the place to be. I don't remember the last time I was in Dar like a whole month.
Okay.
Like I'm in Dar the whole month. I don't remember the last time. I travel every other day. And staying in the office is not one of my favorite things to do.
Yeah.
If I stay in the office for like about a week, I start to go mad. I just want to go. Yeah, I just want to elope. And you know, with traveling, you get to learn.
Yeah.
You get to learn because you see different things. You learn different cultures.
Yeah.
You know, you get to meet different people. So yeah, I encourage people who want to take this path that become tourism and conservation journalists. They should come through.
There are some things in life you will never know unless you travel. I remember one of my brother, he was actually here. His name is Fizo. He always say this, like, traveling is an enemy to ignorance. So most people are ignorant just because they don't travel. They don't really know that exposure is everything, and no one can teach you to be exposed. No matter how many TV shows you watch, no matter how much you scroll on Instagram, you know, seeing is believing. So you have to be there physically to see, to be exposed and learn. Even in our religious books, I'm a Muslim myself. If you watch the story of the Prophet, he was always traveling. He was always migrating to other places so that he can learn about different kind of stuff.
Yeah, there's a quote that says, if if God wanted us to stay in one place, he would give us roots, not feet.
Yeah.
Move.
Yeah, that makes
Yeah.
much more sense. So you inspire a lot of people, a lot of youth, but I was wondering, who inspires you?
Well, it depends on where.
Yeah.
I'm inspired by a lot of people.
Okay.
Yeah. When it comes to journalism,
Yeah.
I'm inspired by one of my mentors, who is also my boss, the Director General of Tanzania Broadcasting Corporation,
Okay.
Kayubrio Bachacha.
Okay.
He's always teaching us to be ourselves,
Okay.
but then to be ethical. So
Okay.
I'm always inspired by what he does as a journalist, but as a director as well. Yeah. But also I'm inspired by Dr. Samia Suluhu Hassan.
Okay.
One of the first things she did is to promote tourism through the Tanzanian Royal Tour.
Yeah.
You know, tourism has been contributing a lot to our national economy, the GDP. 17% of the GDP of Tanzania depends on tourism. And her going out there doing a whole film showcasing the beauty of Tanzania is it's a point of changing this country. It's a point of telling people, like, I'm the head tour guide of this country.
Yeah.
And let me take you on a tour in my country. And that means a lot. And I believe with that, we will reach the expected number of tourists, which is 5 million tourists by 2030.
How many tourists do we have currently?
Approximately, it's about 1.7. Yeah,
Per year.
per year. 1.7 million.
Okay.
But we have a lot. We can do better than that. Before that, the highest number was 2019, which was 1.5 million tourists. And it went down to like almost zero. Yeah, COVID times. But we went back in, you know, after COVID. And I believe we'll get there. Because the money that comes in tourism helps us build our economy. Not only build our economy, we always don't separate tourism and conservation.
Okay.
The tourists given money, like park fees and all that,
Yeah.
that money is used to conserve these national parks, forest reserves, game reserves. They are conserving them not only for us, but also for the future generation, so that they won't go away. This money is used to pay rangers who are patrolling day and night to make sure that our animals are not poached. So kudos to whoever is promoting tourism for Tanzania. Kudos to Dr. Samia Suluhu Hassan, our president.
Poaching is considered as illegal killing of animals in national parks. But a few days ago, I was sitting somewhere and I heard someone saying that in Tanzania, poaching is illegal, but if you pay enough money, you can be allowed to even hunt an elephant. How true is that?
It's very true.
Okay.
So there is poaching
Yeah.
and there is hunting tourism.
Okay.
And poaching is actually, it's like stealing. It's like you just wake up and you just want to go and kill an elephant just because you want to take the tasks,
Okay.
you know, or you want to kill wildebeest because you want to eat the meat, right? There is hunting tourism in Tanzania, and it's under Tanzania Wildlife Management Authority, TAWA, and it's not done in national parks. We have 21 national parks in Tanzania. Now I need to do a whole lesson about this.
Yeah.
So in national parks, which is under Tanzania National Parks, which is also under the Ministry of Tourism and Natural Resources.
Okay.
So you have Tanzania National Parks managing national parks, 21 national parks.
Okay.
In national parks, you take only pictures and you leave only footprints. That means you're not supposed to do any other economic activities except for tourism. And tourism, not hunting tourism.
Yeah.
Now, we have Tanzania Wildlife Management Authority, which actually manages wildlife outside national parks.
Okay.
So if it happens and we see a lion in Bahari Beach right now,
Yeah.
the people we are going to call to take that lion back to the national park or wherever it came from, or from a zoo or something, is Tanzania Wildlife Management people.
Okay.
Because they are the ones who are managing wildlife outside national parks. So if you see an animal in zoo,
Yeah.
under Tanzania Wildlife Management Authority. So they have game controlled areas.
Yeah.
They have game reserves.
Okay.
And they manage wildlife in WMAs, which is wildlife management areas.
Okay.
So wildlife management areas is where people are the community is the one that manages the wildlife. I will give you an example of a wildlife management area is Endwimet in Arusha,
Okay.
or West Kilimanjaro, I would say, or in Lake Natron, where you have the Maasais who are living there,
Yeah.
but you also have the wildlife around there. So now coming to hunting tourism. Tanzania Wildlife Management Authority, TAWA, allows, and our law allows, to hunt animals on a special permit. And it's not cheap.
Okay.
So there are people who like to hunt animals for sport.
Yeah.
So what they do is they hunt the animals,
Yeah.
but they're given a special permit to hunt a certain animal. Mind you, the animals who are hunted are either wounded or very old.
Wow.
So if you see a wounded elephant, they will die anyway, you know?
Yeah.
So the money that we get from hunting tourism, from hunting animals who are wounded and very old, helps with conserving the ones who are fit to go to the next generation. Does that make sense?
Yeah, no, it makes sense because it was last year. There was a picture of a very huge crocodile that went so viral, and there were two white guys in front of it. People were asking, who allowed these people to kill this crocodile in
They
Tanzania?
had permit.
Yeah,
They
and
had permit.
I came to realize that they did it very legally.
Yes.
Yeah,
And we have a lot of crocs, crocodiles.
okay.
They even eat people sometimes.
Yeah,
So sometimes the government allows hunting to reduce the number of these animals. Because if you say, what we do is to bring a balance between wildlife and humans.
okay.
We shouldn't forget that we live in this world as well.
Yeah,
As much as we want to protect the wild animals, we don't want them to destroy us.
yeah.
So with crocodiles, sometimes there's so many, so the government gives a permit for people to hunt crocodiles to reduce the number of crocodiles and to reduce the impact of crocodiles eating human beings. Does that make sense?
You are a travel journalist. That means you're always traveling on the road. And as you said before, you are rarely in Dar es Salaam. You don't even remember when was the last time that you spent more than a month in Dar es Salaam. So I've been wondering, being always on the road, how is life like, and how do you get to balance that life and work relationship?
I would say for the last 4 years, my life has been work
Okay.
mostly. I didn't have a balance. Like, to be honest, I didn't have a balance. I've always mzani unaelemea upande waka mmoja.
Okay.
Up to of recent, I even realized that it's not even healthy. Like,
Okay.
I'm not exercising, I am not eating right.
Yeah.
So I haven't really had a balance. I'm also struggling to find a balance between my work, which requires me to travel a lot, and my life, especially with my health, working out and eating right. Sababu, when you travel, you get to see different kind of food. You want to try different things. Sometimes I can't control myself.
And where do you travel mostly?
So I travel around the country.
Okay.
Yeah, off-grid most of the time. National parks, game reserves, forest reserve, marine parks and reserves. I also travel around Southern African countries, South Africa, Botswana, Namibia.
What's the best place that you've been so far? Let's say in Tanzania or Southern Africa. What's your most favorite?
Well, my most favorite in Southern African countries is Namibia.
Okay.
Yeah, they have something that we don't. They have the desert, and I love the city of Swakopmund.
Yeah.
Which is a coastal city. It's by the sea. It's nice. It's quiet. It doesn't have so many people. You can walk around. It's pretty safe.
Yeah.
But also I like the place where the desert meets the sea, which is the Atlantic Ocean. It's called Sandwich Harbor. So I just love that place. The views are magical. It's just wonderful. So I would take a tour. I did a tour last year. I did a tour this year. Hopefully I'll do it again next year. So it's a place I would go back to like a million times. But in Tanzania, recently I've found interest in the south of Tanzania.
Okay.
I like Kitulo National Park. They call it the Garden of Eden. It's the only national park that conserves species of flowers.
Yeah.
And you will even be shocked that flowers are also poached.
Wow.
There's a certain kind of orchid. They have like a lot of species of orchids, but there's this specific orchid that is poached. Like there are people who come and steal that orchid
Okay.
because it's some kind of medicine or something. So there are people who are patrolling Kitolo National Park
Okay.
to conserve this species of orchids. So it's quite an amazing story. And yeah, next time you should visit Kitolo.
Actually, I'm from the south of Tanzania. Yeah, I've gone to a lot of places, but I've never been in Kitulo. I always see it in pictures.
Okay.
Yeah, so
You should wait when it blooms and you go.
okay, I will definitely go there.
Yeah, that's one. So two, still because I'm from the northern part of Tanzania, when I got to visit the southern part of Tanzania, I was amazed that there's this beauty. So this other part is also the south part of Tanzania, which is Mtwara. There's a marine park. It's called Mnazi Bay Marine Park.
Okay.
It has seasonal migration of whales. They're called humpback whales, not whale sharks. Whale sharks are in Mafia, but in Nazibe you get to see humpback whales, those giants, those big ones.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's also a beautiful place to visit. So the whale season starts from August
Yeah.
to up to October. So yeah, you should also visit that place. I recommend.
As you said, there are a lot of efforts that are being taken by TANAPA to conserve our national parks, to conserve tourism. So I was wondering, apart from poaching, as you said, animals are being poached, even flowers are being poached. What other challenges that these institutions are facing when conserving our national parks?
Well, I would say human wildlife conflicts.
Okay.
Because national parks, all these game reserves, they are bordering villages.
Yeah.
And there's usually conflicts between wildlife and human.
Okay.
You would find a lion escaping, going to the village, doing some distractions, eating like the cattle or something like that. So usually this institution, they go and try to first educate the community, because I believe when it comes to conservation, community comes first. Yeah. So when they educate the community, but then now there's not a balance, but whenever something happens, the people in the village or the community around, they don't take initiative of, say, killing the animal. They
Okay.
usually call the Tanapa people or the Tawa people to
Yeah.
come and help them. And I think that's a great thing, that people now understand that animals are not our enemies. They're here, and they also help the communities around because they benefit from the money that comes from tourism.
When I went to Arusha and I got into the national parks, I was so surprised when I saw there are actually some small villages within the national parks. Why can't the government just decide to evict those kind of people and find them other places to live?
Where did you see villages? Where specifically? Can you mention where? In which national park?
I think it was Ngorongoro.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now, coming to that, now I need to educate that part.
Yeah.
Ngorongoro is not a national park.
Okay.
Ngorongoro is a conservation area. So inside now, when I was telling you, like, you're not supposed to do any other thing in a national park, that when you went to Serengeti, are there villages in Serengeti? No. So in a national park, you can't have villages. The only economic activity that people can do there is tourism.
Okay.
But then when you go to conservation areas, such as Ngorongoro Conservation Area, you would find people coexisting with wild animals while they're doing their normal activities inside the conservation area. Now, that's the difference between conservation area and a national park. Okay. So I don't want you to post tomorrow that you're in Ngorongoro and say, I'm in Ngorongoro National Park. Yeah. So Ngorongoro is not a national park. It's a conservation area. And those people, they are natives in that area. Yeah. They were actually, they originated from Serengeti, because even Serengeti itself is a Maasai word that means endless plains. It's pronounced Siringit in Maasai. So they originated in the Serengeti, and since they wanted Serengeti to be a national park, they decided to move them into Ngorongoro, and that's where they reside until today. Yeah. But they also benefit from Ngorongoro being in Ngorongoro, because they also get to do like culture tourism. People get to experience the culture of the Maasai, and they sell their beads and stuff, and they get a little something from that. So
Yeah, okay. I was actually today years old knowing that Ngorongoro is not a national park. I always call it Ngorongoro National Park, so I guess we get to learn every single day. When I was in Arusha, I learned about one concept called sustainable tourism, and a lot of people I've seen they are trying to practice that. So, you as a journalist, how can your profession of journalism contribute to promoting that sustainable tourism, and how important it is?
well, sustainable tourism is very important
Okay.
because it allows these areas to exist for a very long time,
Okay.
that the future generation will be able to benefit as well from these areas.
Yeah.
And Tanzania, I would say, has been one of the pioneers in sustainable tourism.
Okay.
There's a number of cars that are supposed to be in a national park.
Yeah.
If you reach that limit, don't allow people to go to that specific national park, because you're gonna destroy some things, maybe trees or something like that. There are specific roads for game viewing. If you go off-road, there are species, even micro living organism, that you're going to destroy just because you decided to off-road.
Yeah.
There are companies nowadays, they've decided that we are going to create our own bottles and give them to tourists, so that when they go into national parks, they won't pollute. Tanapa themselves, they even have a policy: trash in, trash out. You wouldn't even find dustbins. You come with your stuff, your trash, in the national park, you go back with it back to Arusha. Don't leave it in the national park. So I think, as a journalist,
Yeah.
my main role is to inform the public
Yeah.
and to promote that they don't pollute these areas.
Yeah.
And the fact that so many people are watching, we set the agenda as the media.
Yeah.
And wanasema kidole kimoja hakivunji chawa. Not only me, but I also advise other medias and other journalists to promote sustainable tourism, because we, as much as we benefit from tourism, from these areas, if we don't conserve them, they're going to go away.
That's great. Traveling is good, and also traveling can be somehow dangerous, because I love traveling myself, and I've basically gone to over 20 countries. So I've faced a lot of difficulties, because most of the times I always travel alone, like from being robbed, from almost being beaten by ladyboys, let's say in in Malaysia. So there are a lot of challenges. I was almost robbed. I was not almost robbed. I was robbed at a gunpoint in Johannesburg. Yeah, those are challenges that I have faced when traveling. Although traveling is good, but you can also face those kinds of challenges. So, what has your experience traveling been like? Have you ever faced any challenge that was so big, and how did you face it?
Well, I've never really had challenges apart from like when we're like shooting, animals charging, and then you have to run back to the car. But I've never really had a very bad experience. But I would say one thing, but I took myself there. One thing that was really challenging to me was climbing Mount Meru. I took on a challenge back in 2022 to climb Mount Meru, which is the second tallest mountain in Tanzania, the eighth in Africa. So there was a point I was like, what am I even doing here? Like, why did I even come? And going back, I remember like when I was descending the mountain, I was descending in all styles, backwards, sideways. I was just walking in all different styles. And I remember I couldn't walk for like 2 days. Yeah. And then slowly I started walking. My fingers were numb for about 3 months. Yeah. So I think that's the only challenge, but I've never like really had big challenges when traveling. Yeah.
You climbed Mount Meru. Did you reach the top?
No, I didn't.
Okay.
I reached the last stop, which was Little Meru.
Okay.
Yeah.
How about Kilimanjaro? Have you tried it?
I haven't tried it, but I would love to try.
So you're a lady, and we also have a female president right now. So if you had a chance to sit with Mama Samia, what advice would you give her regarding the tourism industry that you're in?
First is maybe to change our education policy. We get to learn about tourism and conservation
Okay.
when we're older. My first time to be in a national park was when I was 21 years old. And I think the reason why I was lucky to go to a national park that time, it's because I was an intern at the Tanzanian national parks. So we were sent there to do some work. So what I'm trying to say is tourism and conservation has a lot of opportunities for young people.
Okay.
But then we get to learn it while we're older. Like, you are today's year old to know that Ngorongoro is not a national park.
Yeah.
So as much as we have math, we have science, we have technology and all that, I would love tourism to be a subject, tourism and conservation, to be taught in school from an early stage. I think it's going to change a lot because if you even go through people who are investing in tourism right now, you will find most of them are foreigners or foreigners who have partnerships with locals who are investing in tourism in Tanzania. So me and you don't even know the opportunities that are in tourism, especially investment opportunities.
Okay.
And I believe it's time that Tanzanians take the center stage when it comes to matters concerning their own country, especially in a field like tourism and conservation. So I would advise Madam President to try to push if we can have tourism and conservation as a subject to students at an early stage.
Tanzania is a very big country in Africa generally, but you'll be surprised when you go abroad. I can say more than 70% of the people, they don't know what Tanzania is. Whenever you say, I'm from Tanzania, nobody understands. People are more likely to understand when you tell them you're from Zanzibar or when you mention Kilimanjaro than when you say you're from Tanzania. Yeah, so what do you think should be done to change that narrative for Tanzania to get more tourists?
I think this should start at an individual level. Everybody should be, if you are a Tanzanian passport holder or you are a Tanzanian, you should be the number one ambassador of advertising or saying good things about your country or telling people about your country. You will be shocked when I tell you there's a journalist I met last year.
Yeah.
She's from Zimbabwe. Hapo tu chini bondeni. But she was arguing with me that Mount Kilimanjaro is in Kenya and not Tanzania. And mind you, this person is a journalist. So you could imagine. I think we've been lagging behind for so long. Now we're coming up. There are influencers, people who speak about Tanzania. I love Bongozozo, the way he goes around and say Tanzania, Tanzania here, Tanzania there. And we need more people like that, not leave it to the government itself. They come up with the Tanzania Tourist Board is doing a very great job coming up with Tanzania Unforgettable. Everybody has their own tagline. And I think this is what we should carry. Wherever you go, you tell them, we create unforgettable moments.
Yeah.
So I think everyone should tell everyone about Tanzania. I'm sure if we do that, the next generation of Europeans, Americans are going to know what Tanzania is. And Mount Kilimanjaro is in Tanzania.
Yeah, that's great. And do you have any upcoming project or initiative to promote Tanzania that's coming?
Not coming, but I've already started. I was in a conference in Botswana, and I did a presentation to promote the attractions that are found in Tanzania, especially the ones in the south of Tanzania that are not well spoken of. So I aim to go to more conferences and mostly speak about Tanzania.
Okay.
Yeah. And, you know, in that conference, I even made a statement, which I told, well, it was for the Jiranis, but I said, you can see Mount Kilimanjaro in other parts of Africa, but you can only climb it in Tanzania. So it's to tell the world what we have and claiming back what people took from us.
It's actually funny that a lot of people believe that Mount Kilimanjaro is in Kenya. And actually Kenyans always claim that Mount Kilimanjaro is theirs. Yeah. Is it possible to climb Mount Kilimanjaro from Kenya?
It's not possible.
So you must come to Tanzania to climb Mount
Come to
Kilimanjaro.
Tanzania.
Yeah.
I usually say, like, we have the view, they have the mountain. But me, I say we have both. You can only see Mount Kilimanjaro in Kenya in only one part. But I'm telling you, you can see it all over. Like when you're in Kilimanjaro area, up to Arusha, you can see Mount Kilimanjaro. So you can see it in actually different angles. So if you go to Kenya, yes, you can see it, but in just one angle, right? But if you come to Tanzania, you can actually climb it. You can actually see it in different angles. If you don't want to climb it, you can drink it. We have beer, Kilimanjaro, water. So, yeah.
Yeah, I think that's a good advice. Or if you can't climb Mount Kilimanjaro, at least, yeah, you should drink it.
They should sponsor this podcast. Why am I even mentioning them?
Yeah. And one advice is, if you want the best view for Mount Kilimanjaro, you need to go to a place in Moshi called Nyange Farms. You know, I've actually gone to Nyange Farms. They have very beautiful tents where from your bedroom, just imagine waking up in the morning and seeing the view of Mount Kilimanjaro.
Amazing.
Yeah, I know a lot of people are used to seeing Mount Kilimanjaro on pictures or on video, but not live. But when you see it live, yeah, it's a whole different experience. That mountain is very beautiful.
It's majestic.
We actually want to do the highest podcast in Tanzania, which we're gonna do it on the summit of Mount Kilimanjaro. I don't know how long can we survive doing the podcast, maybe 10 minutes or 15 minutes. But anyways, when we say we're gonna do something, we will do it.
Yeah.
If you want to see MOD podcast on top of Mount Kilimanjaro, just and give this video 500 likes.
Oh yeah.
If we reach 500 likes, I'll just contact Nyange Adventures and we'll climb Mount Kilimanjaro and we're gonna do a podcast on top of Mount Kilimanjaro. Yeah, that's a fact. Yeah. So I know we have talked a lot of things already. So my question is, what else do you want to share to the youth who are watching right now? Because most of the people who are watching are from the age of 21 to 35. So what advice or anything that I didn't ask you that you have to share before you leave?
Katika safari ya kujipata, you will do a lot. You will do a lot, and there are things that they're not meant for you. And pray to God that those things that you are not meant to do, you discover them early, because time is not waiting. And when you discover them, you go to the next thing, you try it, and you see if it works. And inshallah, if it works, stick to it. Put your hard work to it. Hard work pays. Get to meet people who are doing similar things. You will get to learn from them. Be humble. And always ask God to make you humble, or try to be humble. Because even the Bible says, if you don't humble yourself, God will humble you. And you don't want that to happen to you, because that's going to be like maybe the end of your career. Yeah.
And just to add into that, I would like to say that whenever you are doing or whatever you're doing today, it's just a stepping stone to your next big gig. You'll never reach your next project if you're doing nothing right now. Yeah, so instead of staying idle and not doing anything, just try different kind of stuffs. You never know where it's going to take you. Anyways, with that being said, if you liked this podcast, just comment down below what you loved about Magreth, and if you want Magreth to come for a part 2, also just comment her name down below, Magreth. With that being said, I'll see you on the next episode, and thank you, Magreth, for coming.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, and thank you for watching and staying all the way to the end. See you on the next episode.